Dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
A 4-year-old boy has been caught carrying a weapon at school. He might be the youngest and that might shock you, but he's not alone. An investigation covering 29 police forces across England and Wales found that the latest figures show there have been 1,260 incidents involving knives or other weapons. That's equivalent to 5 cases every school day. 49 pupils carrying weapons were under the age of 10. And the weapons seized in schools included a machete, a sword and a meat cleaver.
A 4-year-old child takes a knife into school. But let's face it though, I mean, it couldn't have been much of a blade if a 4-year-old had managed to conceal it and get it into school. Now, unless his parents are the weapons, because clearly there were a couple of tools. When I was 4 years old, my mum used to sort all my stuff out for school. And school trousers had tiny pockets because there was no need to have pockets really in your trousers when you're 4 years old. So how the fuck does a 48-month-old child manage to get a weapon of any sort into a school?
I'm joined now by the anti-knife crime activist and father of a teenage son, Garvin Snell. Thank you very much for coming in. It's hard to think about a 4-year-old carrying a knife, but this seems to be where the knife crime crisis is right now.
But is it in fact an actual crisis, or is it just that the police and the government are reporting these crimes more to the public? You're going to hear this guy say some statistics in a few minutes, and they certainly don't reflect the UK being in an epidemic or a crisis.
Yeah, it's almost normalised now. That's the frightening thing, because what we do here in the news, in the media, when we're talking about it's like a double-edged sword, excuse the pun, because at the same time we're trying to create awareness, we're almost making it sound like it's everyone's got a knife. So it almost seems like you need to have a knife for protection when that's not the done thing.
Now, I don't deny that more knife crimes are heard of these days. But is that because the rate of knife crimes has increased? Or is it more likely that the fear-mongering government and the police are simply reporting them more? And could this be because the police force know that they're in trouble, and by creating an apparent crisis or epidemic, people may change their minds about how inept the police are? I mean, the fire service is a service. The ambulance service is a service. The police service was a service and is now a police force. The name says it all. Is this increased reporting of knife crimes simply a ruse to get the public to agree that the police need more weaponisation? I think we see enough of how well they use their non-lethal weapons and actually manage to kill and hurt, seriously injure people. And that's without even giving them guns with real bullets.
You know, 70% of people that become victims of knife crime become victims of their own knives. So carrying a knife for protection is almost like drinking poison, like I always say, and expecting someone else to be injured, you know.
Okay, so it is normalised for some children in some schools in some parts of the country. What do you say to the children that say they are carrying a knife or any sort of weapon for protection, for self-defence?
Well, I'll tell you what I'd say. I'd say you're a cunt. An absolute fucking pussy. Probably still nursing on mummy's breast milk. Knives don't make you hard. They make you a fucking pussy. Because people who carry knives couldn't fight their way out of a piss-soaked fucking napkin. Now, if I caught any of my kids carrying weapons for protection, they would have to be more scared of me than somebody else with a fucking knife.
Especially when there are teenagers telling us that there have been cases where their mates have been killed and they had listened to activists saying don't carry a knife, and if they had, maybe their friend wouldn't have died. I mean, this is where we're at.
I just said, you're putting yourself in more danger. You know, when I go into schools, colleges, or any junior schools or anything like that, I always say to people, if you were to stand on the top of this building and say, right, you've got a 70% chance that you will die if you jump off, are you going to do it? It's the same as carrying a knife. When you're carrying a knife for protection, you're actually putting yourself in more danger than that. You know?
You say, don't carry a knife, run away from any conflict.
There's no shame in running, yes.
How do they react to that when they're saying, I'm carrying this knife every day at school because I'm scared of what's going to happen to me when I leave school because people are threatening me?
Well, that's the message I'm trying to get across, because it seems like when I go into schools and I ask the question, what percentage of young people do you reckon carry a knife? Because bearing in mind there's 7.3 million young people across the UK, a lot of people say 50%, 60%, even higher. It's less than 1%. So there's not as many people out there carrying knives as is perceived to be.
Less than 1% of children are carrying knives. Okay. Even 1% of children is too many. But the media and the police are making out like it's an absolute frenzy at the moment, which is no doubt on orders from the government to keep everybody scared and subdued, and in the belief that police need further militarisation.
You know, knives are not carried by everyone. You know, we haven't got big thousands of gangs just running around willy-nilly with knives. It's not as bad as it is looking. So what we're actually doing is giving the impression it's worse than it is, almost like forcing young people to carry a knife for protection. And what we're actually doing is putting young people more in danger.
A fascinating take on that, Delvin Snell. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.
Now, I've got my own opinions on why kids are carrying knives and other weapons these days, apart from the fact that we have a culture that is being brought into this country from people who are coming here from places that violence is an everyday occurrence. People that are coming from places of war and poverty, and rather than adapting to the civilised way of life, they're stuck in their cultural views and using that here. And there's also the very simple fact, because I'm not just blaming people that are coming to this country, we've also got the fact that since my generation of parents, so the generation after me of parents, are such fucking snowflake apologists, giving in to every demand their bratty kids make, bowing down to every whim to keep the little shits happy and fucking occupied, just so mummy and daddy can have some quiet Facebook time without interruption. There is zero discipline for kids these days. The kids have zero respect for people. The entire punishment system has crumbled. I mean, for fuck's sake, schools are punishing kids for wearing skirts, not trousers, for wearing shoes made of the wrong material, for having an opinion that doesn't conform to the school's opinion. And yet the bad and the dangerous behaviour seems to go unchecked. When I was a kid, if I'd done something wrong, I got a belt, I'd get belted for it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying my dad used to plant me around the room, do you know what I mean? But if I'd done something wrong, I would get punished properly. Not sat on a fucking step for 2 minutes. What do parents do now? What do this generation, or the generation after me of parents do now? They make threats, but they never follow them through. I'm going to take your Xbox away. I'm going to take your PlayStation away. But they never do, because the kids will make a fuss. The parents will go, oh, fuck's sake, I want to go on Facebook in a bit of peace and quiet. Just fucking keep it. Kids get their own way. They don't get punished so that they think there's no consequences for their actions. But what's worse is that even if parents wanted to punish their kids now, they can't, because they'll all get arrested. I mean, like the police haven't got more important things to do other than go and arrest parents who are trying to discipline their kids. I mean, can you see the irony in that? So kind of wrapping this first part of the video up, a new law came into effect in Scotland just a couple of days ago. Or a new law was passed in Scotland just a couple of days ago, making smacking your kids illegal. Meaning that if you do think your kid deserves a dig, you're going to have to phone the police up and tell them that your child's gone out armed with a camera phone, and within 5 minutes you'll have half a dozen cops there ready to give him a hiding for you. Now, if you don't believe me about parents now being snowflakes, then just watch the rest of this video, which was a phone-in with Ruth and Eamon on this morning, the other morning, where they had a phone-in asking people about their kids and whether they had trouble disciplining them or not.
Right, let's get into the phone-in. Scottish Parliament yesterday became the first country in the UK to make smacking children a criminal offence. This will come into effect from next year.
Yeah, and this morning you've been getting in touch with your own discipline dilemmas. Deirdre's here, and lots of people having lots of problems with it.
With all different age groups.
With all different age groups. So let's start with Jade. Hello, Jade.
Hello.
Hello, Jade. Now, your little boy is 18 months old. So
Yeah.
Or is it getting towards that terrible twos, as they call it? How are you doing? What's happening with the discipline?
He is usually really good, understands if he's done something good, but he just does not understand the word no. If he doesn't get his own way, he starts like really banging his head on the floor, and he knows that he's hurt himself, but he'll go back and do something that he shouldn't do. I've tried whistles to get his attention. Obviously I tell him no, but he'll just go back and do it again. So I'm really struggling.
And obviously we're talking about smacking today.
Yeah.
Have you done that at all? Tempted?
No, I don't want to get to the point of smacking him, but nothing else is working.
So where does she start? What does she do, Deirdre?
You know, I think some of it is, this is just developmental stuff, you know. I think we tend to have over-optimistic expectations of our children. We expect them to be behaving like 3-year-olds and they're 1-year-olds and like 5-year-olds and they're 3. You know, he's really little. He's only 18 months old. And yes, I know you say like he claps when he's done something wrong, and that's because you put probably the tone of your voice changes. You go, oh, good boy, and he goes, yay, and he responds to that and does the good boy stuff. But when he's done something wrong, he's wanting to do that. You don't want him to do that. So immediately a conflict is set up in him, but he's not developmentally mature yet at all. And so you can't really expect a little one to, by all means, say no, but don't expect them to just obey you straight away. You have to physically intervene, really, when they're little. And so, you know, like if they're reaching for an electric plug or something, you say no, and you move them. You know, he's only little, you can pick him up, and you just calmly move them away from what it is they're doing. Distraction is the other thing. You know, if it's not a danger, you move them
He's
away
banging
from.
his head on the floor in a temper.
Yes, exactly. Well, pick him up, cuddle him, and say, you know, you shouldn't be doing that, and explain to him. You'll take in some sort of message. Keep the tone of your voice calm. I think it's really important with little kids that, you know, they have raging feelings in their little bodies, but they need you to be the adult and to stay calm. So yes, stop him from doing what he's doing. Distract him if it's a distracting thing. Pick him up if he's trying to bang his head on the floor. But I don't think that you can just wag your finger at a small child and say no, that they'll stop, because they won't. They'll gradually get them.
It's hard work, Jade, isn't it? It's hard
Being
work
a
at
mum,
this age.
being a dad, being a parent,
Yeah.
it's hard. To me, I think it's quite hard work all the way through.
But I think that's, looking back on Jack,
Really
that's the hardest, because you get bored with the sound of your own voice.
Yeah.
All the time it's like no, and praising
No,
behaviour.
yeah,
and,
exactly.
But I do think, you know, Deirdre's right, it's just he's
It's
too
lots
young
of
to
distraction
understand it.
and lots of positives as well. It's like children tend to start misbehaving or being difficult when they're not getting enough positive attention from us, and there is a real tendency we can slip into is that we reward them with attention when they're doing bad, and we don't reward them with attention when they're being
So
good.
praise the good.
Praise the good, and also be in there. Don't let boring.
Jade, thank you very much for
Yes.
that. We've got to go to Hannah.
Hi,
We're talking more bad here. You've got twins, they're 4 years of age, and they are bad boys at school, we understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Hannah, what's
Tell
going
us.
on?
My kids have started this reception, and they've already been told to leave the school. They haven't been expelled yet, but they're saying that I've got to have an EHCP put in place because they're hitting and kicking and biting the staff.
An EH what?
EHCP, early help.
Educational support.
Yeah.
And do I gather also that they've suggested
One-to-one.
and also they've suggested that maybe you should take them to the doctors, did I hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got appointments with
Do they-
the doctors.
Do they behave like this at home, Hannah?
Not as much. I mean, they are little monsters at home sometimes, but boys will be boys, as I say. But I have discipline things in place with them, and I can deal with them. And I have 4 children, and I'm a single mother, so it's. I
So
have to
you're
put things in
coping. So
place.
how do you cope at home when they start playing up? What do you do?
I just sit them down on the sofa, and they're not allowed to move until they start being good. And if they don't, then they go upstairs in their bedroom.
Do you forcibly
Oh,
sit them down? Maybe just getting back to this whole idea of when you discipline and how you discipline. I mean, do you strike them?
What is it like?
Does it snap them?
I have smacked the back of their legs a few times. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to help really.
I think this is really about an attention thing, because you say you've got 4 children. So how old are the others?
Yeah. My other son is 7, and he's top of the class in everything at school.
Yeah.
He's like an angel in the school, guys. And I've got a 13-year-old girl
Right.
with learning disabilities as well.
Right, so that's quite a lot.
So
You've got a huge amount of books. So what I wonder, I mean, yes, you say they're not so bad at home. I think I also heard some reference to the fact you take they've got tablets. Is that right? As in,
Yeah, I take the tablets away from them.
Right.
They don't care.
No, well, my worry is about having like tablets with small children like this at home. Is it doesn't, and I'm going to get around to the school issue. The stuff that's on tablets, i.e. laptops and phones and things, that just doesn't encourage them to develop any sustained attention. So children, it's just changing images all the time, and yes, it's a brilliant way of entertaining 2 children. If you've got 2 4-year-olds and a 7-year-old and a 13-year-old, I really understand the pressures you're up against. But the trouble is, going to school has probably been a horrendous shock for them, because all of a sudden they're expected to actually concentrate, have sustained attention, and really sort of focus. So I would take the school up on their suggestion that you take to the doctors, because a diagnosis of something like ADHD, attention deficit disorder, could be helpful. Look at the ADDIS. There's an organisation called, I know Amy's trying to shut me up, there's an organisation called ADDIS. So do go to them. I'll come and talk to you some more off air, because I think this is going to be handleable, and I think you're coping with an awful lot there.
Okay, Hannah, Deirdre, speak to you. Thank you very much. We move on to Louise, and then we've talked about an 18-month-old, 4-year-old twins. Now, Louise, with your situation, it's a 16-year-old boy, bit of a handful for you, yes?
Yes, very much so.
Tell us more.
Basically, he's 16. He is about a foot taller than me to start off with. He's literally out of control, no matter what I do, and because I'm a single mom, but he's been brought up with discipline, and everyone criticises me because I tried everything in the book, out the book. I sought outsiders' help. I grounded him. That doesn't work because he just goes out. I threatened to take away the PlayStation, the computer, his phone. Phone's actually in my name, and if I do that, I'm then threatened by authorities that I might face prosecution because it's seen as social, emotional, mental abuse of the child's right.
Am I right in thinking he actually phoned the police about you?
Yes, the police have been out several times, and all they do is take him to a friend's house, and I get words of advice that I'm not allowed to do things, etc.
So can I just, because at the beginning of this is in what way does he misbehave that then makes you feel as though you need to be disciplining him? What's he actually doing wrong? Is he doing his schoolwork okay?
He's now left school. Last year he was horrendous in school, and I worked closely with the school to get through his GCSEs. It's simple things. If I ask him to do something for me, I get abuse held at me. If he goes out...
Okay, I think I'm worried we're going to run out of time. So let me just say, I think what some of this is about is that both of you have got stuck into a really negative place together, haven't you, where there's not a lot of fun happening here. I don't think he's a happy young man. It may be it's not your fault you're a single parent, but he's typically at the age where young guys, they start acting out the fact that they really miss having a strong male figure in their life. Problems, emotional stuff from years ago is all coming out. I suggest you talk to the Young Minds Parents Helpline. They've got a website on our website, Young Minds Parents Helpline. So talk to them, and also really look around and think, can you start setting up some more positive stuff, think of stuff that you would really enjoy doing, hopefully you could do together, or get a male figure in your life and get him having some fun that you're behind, so that you're putting in some positives. I'll come and talk to you some more today as well.
It's a tough
James, we're going to talk to you off air, Louise, because we've run out of time. It's tough when they're 16, they're like adults, they think they're adults.
I know, it's really difficult. I'm going to one more website, Family Lives website, brilliant. A whole range of parenting is on our website as well.
Thank you, Deirdre.
Dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
Good night, all.